Yo, how are we, people? Yes, let's go. So this is everything I do for better sleep. This was meant to be another video, which was a little bit more mindset based, but my brain's not working. It's 7 o'clock. Yeah, I've been working since 8 this morning, so brain's not working. So I thought I'll make a simpler one, quick as well to digest, to watch, and yeah, let's get into it. So, by the way, these are in no specific order. There's just everything I do. So if you wanna put this into your lifestyle, please do so. If you do all of them, you'll have great sleep. Okay, so firstly, sleeping cycles. Now, also, I don't have too much text here, so you're probably gonna have to take notes or actually listen to me. Let me move my head here. All right, so sleeping cycles. What does this mean? We sleep in what's called sleep cycles. Yeah, and this is literally a cycle is when you start to go to sleep and you're in shallow sleep, and then it becomes deep, and then you're gonna rise up again. Yeah, this is a cycle. Every cycle is 90 minutes. Yeah, what you want to do is you want to wake up towards the end of a cycle because you are in shallow sleep and it's much easier to wake up. For example, you've got those times when the alarm goes off. And another thing as well, it's I try not to use an alarm. Most of the time I wake up by myself without using alarms. But sometimes you wake up, the alarm goes off, and you hear it immediately, and you wake up and you're fresh. Sometimes the alarm goes off and you don't hear it for a while, and you wake up and you feel like you've been hit by a truck. That's because you woke up in the middle of a sleep cycle and you're in deep sleep. Every sleep cycle is 90 minutes, so the way you sort out your sleep routine so that you wake up at the end of a sleep cycle is just put these 90 minutes cycles together. So you either want to be in bed for 6 hours, 7.5, or 9, to get those 6 to 8 hours of sleep that doctors recommend. But also you got to consider that if you're in bed for 6 hours, you better make sure your quality is good. Otherwise, you probably sleep in like 5, because most people sleep for about 80 to 80% of the time they're in bed. For example, if you're in bed for 9 hours, you're probably gonna sleep for about 7.5 hours of actual sleep. Yeah, so that's what you wanna do. I go to bed at 11 and I wake up at half 6. Yeah. Then second thing, taping your mouth. So I've got this thing called micro pore tape. Let me. Okay. So this thing here, what you do, you literally I put this on my mouth before going to bed. Yeah, so it's not gonna rip your mouth and stuff like that because it's super easy to come off as you see it. But it's just enough pressure so your mouth will stay closed and you breathe through your nose. This is better for breathing. You just get better sleep if you breathe through your nose. Don't remember the science of it, but it just does. I don't care about the science. I just care about what the science does for me. Yeah, so I know that breathing through your nose is better. So do it. Wear blue light blockers. So I'm wearing these. These are blue light blockers, but they don't do too much. But about 2 hours before bed, super disorganized, but 2 hours before bed, I wear these glasses. With these, all I see is red. Yeah, all I see is red. What they do, these block blue light coming from devices such as your TV, laptop, phone, etc. Blue light is really harmful for your eyes, for your health. Not for your health, but is a little bit for your health. But you want to avoid that before bed because it just makes you a little bit super active and stuff. And you can't go sleep by scrolling TikTok, then you go sleep. You can go sleep, but the sleep is just not gonna be really deep. That's it. Then we've got moving your last meal forward. You wanna ideally, yeah, you wanna have your last meal like 3 hours before bed, 3 4 hours before bed. Why? When you eat, your body digests food, and that takes energy, right? And you probably had big meals where you had a big meal, you try to go sleep straight after, like shortly after, and you cannot sleep, and your stomach is rumbling and stuff. That's because your body is trying to digest food, and if your body's digesting, all the energy is going into digesting food rather than calming you down to sleep. You may be like, oh, but sometimes I have a big meal and I feel like I'm sleeping. Yeah, that's because most of the time that's in the afternoon, and if you do end up falling asleep, it's not good quality sleep, is it? So just move the last meal forward. I go to bed at 11. and I usually try to finish eating by 9. I'm currently bulking, I'm eating a lot of food, so sometimes this ends up, being 9:30. By the way, all of this here, I do most of them most of the time. Sometimes I don't. I'm just a human being, right? But if you do all of this, you get good sleep. Are you gonna move? Lovely. Perfect. So you wanna stop caffeine. So any energy drinks, any coffee and all that stuff 10 hours before bed, because it stays in your system for actually longer than 10 hours, but the effects after 10 hours are really minimal. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I go to bed 11, after 1 o'clock, no more caffeine. Then nicotine is bad for you. Yeah, drugs are as well. This is safe-ish drug. This is good for focus and stuff. You want to stop these 5 hours before bed. So if you're using Zins and stuff like that, nicotine pouches 5 hours before bed, because nicotine stays in the system for half the time caffeine does. Then just wear an eye mask because you want your room to be dark. I've got these curtains and I've got like a big curtain as well, but it's just a hassle putting it down, then bringing it up, and then there's some light that always filters. So having an eye mask just covers you, and it's dark, and you just sleep better. Sleeping naked, this is good as well. The best ever sleeps I've ever had was when I was naked, like fully butt naked. Just everything is dangling left, right, and center. But you just sleep better. So yeah, and it's comfortable. Then before bed, you wanna read or journal, not do any kind of highly stimulating activities. So why read or journal? These two go hand in. Fuck me. These two go hand in hand. Yeah. The reason is you wanna relax your brain. You don't wanna be super active. Yeah. You don't want your heart rate to be super high. So if you're doing highly stimulating activity, if you're exercising, anything that stimulates your like your brain, watching Mr. Beast videos, watching bad things, that just stimulates a lot, and you won't get good sleep. So you want to calm down. So reading and journal are really good activities, because reading is just really low stimulating, but you still get to learn something if you read non-fiction. And if you read fiction, fuck you, because what's the point? It's not real. Maybe not fuck you. Yeah, you're probably a lovely person, but I don't like non-fiction because it's just not real, right? Or journal. You may have had a stressful day, and if you're going to bed just thinking about all the stressful things that have happened, you may not sleep and just keep thinking about those. If you just get your thoughts on paper, it's almost like you have this weight on your mind, and you kind of transfer it on paper, and the paper is holding the weight, and your mind, your body is free from this weight, so you can go to sleep and look at that, face those problems tomorrow. Then third, having a cold room. So that's why I sleep naked as well, because you feel a bit colder when you're naked. So open up your windows and stuff, having your doors open and stuff, unless it's too noisy. Maybe having a fan. Something that you do in the summer is have an ice pack in my pillow. So just put the ice pack in there, so my head is cold. Really good sleep. Then finish work earlier. So this kind of, I was gonna say, this relates to highly stimulating activities. If I'm working until 10, half 10, and I've had those days, then I'm trying to go sleep in half an hour. This is not happening. Just because, again, my brain is really highly stimulated. All I'm thinking about is work, and I cannot sleep. I don't get deep sleep. So you want your mind to relax before bed. Oh shit, sorry, because I was copying and pasting it, but this stayed. Then you will have work breaks. So this is what I've learned from one of my mentors, my sleep coach, Gary Ullman. If you're watching this, say bro. What you want to do, right, is a lot of people, they start the day, they get to work, and what happens is their cortisol just kind of goes up and 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 up, and then they try to reduce their cortisol levels before going to bed by reading or journaling, whatever that is, but they're unable to do so. Why? Because your cortisol is so high, it's not going to take 20 minutes of reading for it to go down. So what you want to be doing is, work, so cortisol goes up, then have a break, 5, 10, 15 minutes. Ideally, you want to have 90 to 2 hour work blocks, followed by 5 to 15 minutes breaks. And during these breaks, just don't do anything, do fuck all, read, just meditate, just close your eyes, have a quick nap maybe, or do something else, maybe go for a walk. go, no, talk to your partner and stuff. Try not to go on your phone. Try not to scroll because that's still stimulating your mind. What happens this way is your cortisol goes up, then you relax. Cortisol goes up, relax. Cortisol goes up, you relax. So that once you get to bedtime, your cortisol is much lower than it would have been if you just worked. So yeah, it's easy to bring it down and then you sleep. Then supplements. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about specific supplements, but all the supplements that you have, take them in the morning, unless it's a specified sleep supplement, which most people don't actually need. Why? If you take them in the morning, it's not like you take a supplement pill and that acts straight away. It doesn't. It takes some time, right, to get into your system. So what you want to do, take them in the morning so that they kind of just get into your body for the day and they start acting basically. Because if you take your night, it's just firstly got to drink a shit ton of water. So, and this relates to finish training early in the day, right? I was gonna say, yeah, that's related, not training early in the day. Sorry. I was gonna say moving your last minute forward. Because if you have a shit ton of water, then you're gonna just wake up and go for a piss all the time. That's one. And then it just gives enough time for supplements to get in your body, release, and then you actually feel those effects. Some supplements, for example, magnesium, you can take it about 1-2 hours before bed. That's what I do. But most of them, just take them in the morning. Yeah. Then finish work early. I've already talked about it. I don't know why I just copied. Now, purposeful work. What do I mean by this? You're not gonna go to sleep if you haven't accomplished anything because you don't deserve that rest. This may be a little bit, woo-woo, but I feel like those days where I'm the most productive, for example, today I've been really productive and I feel like I'm gonna have pretty good sleep tonight. It's almost like you deserve that rest. If you're all day, you're doing fuck all, you're just scrolling and you're just being a retard, why would you go sleep? You don't deserve that rest. But if you had a day where you're productive at work, you trained hard, and you're just good person overall, you did what you had to do, right? You feel great. You feel like you deserve the rest. Your mind and body are tired and they're ready to go to sleep. You're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a good sleep basically. Then give yourself enough time to relax before bed. Similar thing to not doing highly stimulating things before bed, and the work breaks. Just relax because you want your heart rate to be down, you want your cortisol levels to be down, so it's easier for you to go to sleep. Morning sunlight. I feel like it does work. Science does. Some people say it doesn't, but my sleep coach says get some morning sunlight, so I'll do it. So when you wake up, you want to go just look at the sun 5 minutes, right? Maybe walk and stuff. That tells your natural clock, your body's clock, which is the circadian rhythm, that okay, it's morning time, I need to wake up, right? And then watching the sun throughout the day does help as well, so your body knows, okay, now it's morning, now it's afternoon, now it's evening. So your body's natural clocks there's time to go to sleep and stuff. Avoiding drama before bed again relates to relaxing and stopping work earlier and not doing highly stimulating activities. Sometimes you just have an argument with someone, your parents, significant other, or you just over text with someone and your heart rate is high, and you just try to go sleep, you can't sleep, and you're just thinking about, oh, I could have said this thing, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that bitch, right? Whenever sense some kind of drama, firstly, you never win an argument. You can never win it because there's two people with different ideas, and when you're in the state of ego, you will not actually acknowledge that you're right, that you're wrong, or the other person will not acknowledge that they're wrong. So firstly, just avoid drama. When I sense some kind of drama, for example, mom's having a go at me or something with work, whatever that is, I just don't listen to it. And if my mom just keeps talking, I just come upstairs, read, and go to bed, and I have really good sleep, right? Anytime I've engaged in any kind of these things, so maybe I'm looking at Facebook comments, some hate comments on Facebook, I'm like, oh, fuck this guy. I don't have good sleep because I'm just thinking about it, like, who the fuck is this guy to tell me, I'm this and this and that, right? Or every time I engage in an argument and my mom is having a go at me and I'm kind of engaged in that and we go have a back and forth, I've never had good sleep because my heart rate is so high and I'm not relaxed. So yeah. So what you want to do before bed? Okay, this is finished. So what I do usually before bed, my sleep time is 11. Usually 8, half 8, I'm done with work. Then I'm just chilling, so eat. And the last hour and a half of the day, I'm just watching some TV, and I've got these blue light blockers on. TV, I'm just watching something chill. Maybe, usually no movies because they're usually 2 hours long and I want to finish it. But usually something chill, some documentaries, some podcast clips. I like to watch predator catchers videos. They're not highly stimulating. Just some stuff that, you like, you're interested in, but it's not gonna fry your brain, Mr. Beast. Like, don't watch those videos. And then usually the last 20, 30 minutes before bed. So I come upstairs about 10:30ish, half an hour before bed. So if I feel like journaling, I journal. Most of the time I do not, because I do that in the morning. And I usually just read, and then when I feel like I'm sleeping and maybe I'm reading and I can't remember what I'm reading, or I'm just, instead of reading, I'm just looking at a page and my eyes are closing, close the book, boom, go to bed. That's literally it. Alright, Steve.